Thank you guys for coming on Wednesday of Math Jam. You guys are hanging in there, doing a great job. How do you guys like it so far? Love it. Okay, that's great. It's great to see you guys here. I'm glad we're all together, Building 36. It's nice to see everybody every single day. So today in the morning we're doing our class experience student panel. So this was actually an idea of Yvette's. She noticed that some students have a hard sense of understanding what's required in each class. You might sign up for Math 120, but not know what that actually means. You can see a syllabus, but you don't know how many hours of work you're going to be doing when you get home. So we recruited some students from different math classes and even science classes to get their take on course load, experiences, what tools help them succeed in their class, and what they would do moving forward if they knew what they did in their class. So I'm going to have those students come up right now. If you guys are part of the panel, if you could please come on and let's give a round of applause for coming in. Sit wherever you want to sit. And KanJen, where's he at? There, you two. All right, we're going to have one of our tutors here too for physics.
All right, hi guys. My name is Luca Balbi. I was a middle college student here for 2 years. I've since graduated high school and I'm starting at Cal Poly in the fall.
I'm Shelby Argabrite. I'm a computer science student here, and it's going to be a while before I transfer, but loving it here so far.
Alright, I'm Joshi, and I took a calculus course, and I was just here for the summer. I go to San Jose State University majoring in math.
I'm Shriya. I took Math 115 for geometry, and I'm a high school sophomore.
I'm KanJen. I'm a physics major student. I was still staying here for 1 year. I finished all the math courses and 2 physics courses.
Okay, thank you. All right, so as introduced, I'm just going to go ahead and go across and ask each of the students the same question, and we'll just kind of go through that. So, Luca, what did you take? What course or courses did you take?
Over the course of my 2 years here, I took Math 130, Math 222, and Math 241.
I took geometry, and then intermediate algebra, then trigonometry, then pre-calculus, calculus 1. Next semester I'm going into calculus 2.
I took math 251 just for the summer.
I took Math 115 just for the summer.
I took 251, 232, 233, which is like free calculus and linear algebra, the Bevara equation, and discrete mathematics. Also physics 250 and 260.
Okay. All right. So, how prepared were you coming into your classes?
So my first semester here, I wasn't prepared at all. Being a junior in high school, I thought I could come in and take my math class like a high school student, or like a high school math class, and that didn't work at all. I was probably 4 weeks before the final, I was probably failing the class. And I had to kick my butt into gear, and I guess you'll hear the rest of the story later. But for the other 2 classes, I was very well prepared because of my experience the first semester here.
Bless you.
So my math got really interrupted during all my time before high school because I lived in Japan, then Ohio, then Canada, then China, then Ohio, then California, and math is really sequential. So if you miss a step, it's really hard to go to the next step. So I started out in geometry, and I was not very prepared either. And I'll let you know how I got prepared later in these questions.
So I took a pre-calculus course that was like in high school, and I'm going to be a third year at San Jose State. So like 2 years, I was just 2 years playing out without math. But I really like math, so once I study something, I don't forget it that easily. So I knew the basic unit circle and everything, but I wasn't prepared exactly. Yeah.
Literally exact opposite of everything what they just said. I was not prepared. I have horrible memory skills. I suck at math. I don't like it either. And I came into this class thinking, okay, my dad forced me to be here. I'll just try my best if I can, whatever. And these little kids who were like 2 years younger than me were in this class. I'm like, why am I so stupid? But then I was like, I have everything. I have my materials. I'll just try my best. And yeah, I guess I turned out to be okay. I still got my average grade. I literally get every single time. And I'm really consistent with my grades, so it turned out to be okay.
Okay. For me, like calculus 1 to calculus 3, I already like self-studying them before I came to CSN. But for me, like linear algebra, like also like discrete mathematics and like physics, they are new to me, so I need to like prepare for them. Like, and then also like physics, because in physics you have like assignment for like lab manual, you need like at least 2 hours to 3 hours for lab manual. And also like for the online like math and physics, you need like 2 hours. So for the physics work, always like you at least need like 4 to 6 hours for assignments only. And you need like more extra time to practice like examples on a textbook or the problem your professor will give you. So I think you need time.
So it sounds like you weren't prepared for maybe the time that you would need.
Also like for we like to discrete like in like finance class, the assignment is like there's like 2 hours per lecture, and for each week there is quizzes, and for like 2 to 3 weeks there is an exam. So I need like for every lecture I need like 2 to 4 hours to prepare.
Okay. All right, so what was the course load like?
It's really reasonable if you stay with it. It can feel really overwhelming if you fall behind though. And I think that's where a lot of students get stuck. They don't stick with deadlines. And even falling one assignment behind can be pretty detrimental. Because if you miss a class, you're at a community college now, right? And most of the time you're going through 1 to 2 sections in a chapter per day. So if you miss a class, you're already 2 steps behind the rest of your class. And it can get overwhelming really quickly. But for the most part, your teachers are going to be pretty reasonable with it. They just want you to succeed, right? They're not trying to make it harder for you. So I had Miss Butterworth for all 3 of my math classes, and I think that the course load was totally reasonable.
I found the course load for each class, I found the amount of homework that I had to do for each course was a little bit more than the amount of time I spent in the class until I got to calculus, and then it kind of doubled the amount of time I needed to work outside of class. And I would just keep in mind about the amount of work you have to do in class, do a little more than that. Calculus, you're gonna have to do a lot more than that, but you can definitely get through it.
Right, so for me the course load was like really heavy because I've never taken a 5-unit class during a summer. And I was just like, so after every one of my lectures, I was just at the Math Resource Center for like, I don't know, 3-4 hours, maybe at times 5, just finishing up the homework. So it was a lot for me, but like 3 or 4 weeks in, you kind of get adjusted to the course load. So it doesn't seem like a lot. Although you're spending like 5 hours doing your homework, it doesn't seem like a lot after a while.
So do remember that he was taking a class in the summer, right?
Yeah.
So don't panic if it's semester, it's a different thing, but it is a big deal. Yeah.
I agree with what he said. The course load, since I'm a high school student and I've never taken a class like this before, it was very fast paced. Like we had to do like assignments every single day, like multiple new things to learn every day. I was still like a bit surprised by it. I was like, why is it so fast paced? But after like 2 to 3 weeks, I got used to it, and I like the assignments she gives us were like actually pretty easy if you actually understand what you're supposed to do. So it was pretty good, I guess. But the tests we have to take every single week, we had one. That was the only thing that like got me, like what the first person said, that if you miss one thing, you'll fall behind very fast. that's what I did. I fell behind on my GSBs like fast. I fell behind and I had like 6 backtracks, so I had to get back on those. Instead of studying for my final exam, I completed those. Then I had two hours to study for my final exam right before I came to class. So don't do that. Yeah, don't do it.
And again, a summer class,
Yeah,
so
it's a summer
even
class.
more workload.
And I did not know what I was doing half of the time, so study. Don't forget.
Also, like for me, like assignment is like, I mean, for you maybe like it's a minimum requirement to pass the courses, so you need to just complete all the assignment. If you have extra time, just have extra like practices, and don't take too many units, because like last semester I take like 27 units, like 3 math courses, 2 computer science courses, and 1 English, history, something like that. So don't do that. Yeah.
How are you alive?
Don't do that. Yes, don't do that.
Admittedly, don't do that. All right. What were the main challenges with the course?
Showing up and paying attention was difficult because I was new to the community college, and I was new to the amount of freedom that I have. You guys decide whether or not you want to go to class. So you need to make that decision for yourself that you are going to go and that you are going to pay attention. Because when you do that and you apply yourself and you're trying, your teachers see that and they make an extra effort to help you out. If you're not trying and you don't care, they kind of take the same stance, which I don't know if you guys think that's fair, but it is. You give what you get. No, you get what you get, sorry. So, staying on track, showing up for the first class. After that, it was pretty easy. Asking questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. It's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength.
My main challenges during the course, or the courses that I took, was that math comes about twice as hard to me as English does, or maybe 10 times, I'm not sure. So I really had to put a lot of effort into reviewing the material and writing down everything I learned throughout the class before the final, and making sure that I had a good memory of all the things that I learned before the final and before each test. So the main challenge is that math didn't come naturally to me, but it's a challenge that I was able to overcome thanks to a lot of strategies that I'll answer in the next question.
So I think the main challenge for me was like, although I was paying attention in class, so summer course, again, it's just a summer course, so it was super fast paced, and it was like at times, I couldn't understand the material as fast. So even though I knew it, when I saw the question, I was like, on the test, I was like, I think I know how to do this, but no, this is not the way you do it. So at times when I was not sure, so I think the pace was a problem for me. And another thing was the exams, like Professor Feynman, really sorry, I'm just going to be truthful right now. So Professor Feynman, I took it with Professor Feynman, and her tests are honestly a little exhausting. Emotionally, and any which way you name it, they're just exhausting. So by the time you actually reach the last question, your brain is shut down, and you already hear the Windows sound, dung 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 dung, already going on in your head. So another thing is like with Professor Feynman, I think it is very important to solve the questions that you think you know first, because that will actually boost up your confidence and you'll actually know what to do next. So that is an important part. But other than that, it was okay.
That's exactly what I did on every single test of mine. I just went to the part I knew, and I'm like, okay, I got that away. Let's do the things I don't know, which was like 3/4 of the whole test. But I think the main challenge for me were the GSBs, because I didn't understand what they're trying to tell me to do. I'm like, create what? Make what? I'm like, what are you trying to make me do? And Also, another one was asking questions. I hated asking questions. I hate them. Like, I don't have like a pride or anything. I do have a pride, but like, I don't have like that big of a pride to ask someone questions. I just never did. So I never tried asking him questions. Like right before I came here, like, you never ask me questions. Why don't you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I don't ask my mom questions. I don't ask anyone questions. The only thing I ask for questions is my computer, and it has many of them. So I think my main challenge was asking questions, because if I didn't ask questions, I didn't know what I was doing. If I didn't know what I was doing, I just sat there eating my food. So that's what I did. And that's why she had a frown on her face every time she looked at me, because I was eating junk food the whole time. So, yeah.
For me, like, main challenges is like, since I'm an international student, maybe I need time to memorize the concept and to read the text in the textbook, because like it's like a different language from my mother tongue. And also like for me, like learning how to like interrupt the professor is very important, because in my country, like all the professor will like take over all the classes, and you are just sitting down to take notes. But sometimes maybe the professor is wrong, you need to interrupt him, or if you have some like questions to ask, just interrupt. Very important.
Okay. What tools and strategies helped you to succeed?
Office hours, office hours, office hours. They're huge. It's everything. And if you can't make it to their office hours, most of the time teachers will make accommodations. Most of the time it'll be a one-on-one setting, so you really get to like hone in on what you don't understand and what you need to better understand. Classmates is a great resource. I mean, if they're just as lost as you are, then maybe not. But the Math Resource Center is also a great resource that we have here. I never really fell back on it because I went to office hours. My first semester here, for I don't know how many weeks, I was in office hours every day after class because I basically had to reteach myself all of analytic trigonometry before the final.
I agree with both the things he just said, and I'd like to add on to that, the professors that I've had here, I've had Professor Walker 3 times, I've been with Professor Feynman, they go above and beyond to make sure that you are able to get the time with them you need in order to learn the material. Like, they will be at every office hours that they put down on their schedule, which is almost as much time as in the class, and they will have whiteboards right outside their offices, so you can work just one-on-one with them or in a group with them, and so that's super helpful. I actually spent even more time at the math lab, which is a resource on CSM that has tutors, student tutors at all times, which you can ask questions to them. It has computers, it has spaces to study, and I found myself studying usually with a group of people in my class, in almost every class that I took here. And so I just want to highlight that the math lab, building 18 over there, is huge for me, and I've spent way too many hours there.
I'd agree with like MRC. So every time after, so I didn't work luckily during the summer, so I had sometime like I had all the time after class. So I just went to the MRC. I studied there for like whatever 4 or 5 hours until I got the concept clear. And there were also SAS sessions that were regularly being held. So those definitely helped. Thank you, Farber. And another tool that I'd like to point out is Professor Feynman. Although I say her tests are exhausting, she was really a resource. Like during I think the day before the final I was just like, how long are you gonna be here for? Because I might need you. She was like, what time do you want me to be here until? I was like, you are an angel. I was like, wow. So, and I'm going to be a math major, so my brother took a class with her, and she's like, if you pass that class with, if you have confidence in yourself, once you do well in that class, that is the major for you. You still have a passion after that class, you got it. So that's exactly what happened. And I was like, she waited until 6, 7, and not only one, but many occasions, just to help me out all the time. So thank you, Professor Feynman, for that. And another thing is in the MRC, Math Resource Center, I always study with a group of students. So there's a saying that, in teaching comes learning. So even if there are people who are confused, just like you, as Shelby said, I think I studied with Shelby most of the time. So we used to teach each other, and that actually really helps you like strengthen your concepts. So that is one really, I think, an important strategy to use, because once you teach, you just know it like inside out. So no matter what the question is, you'll actually know the answer.
No, my answers seem very stupid because of everyone's good answers. But my tool, okay, it's kind of rude to call your professor's tool, because she's not a tool. Professor Feynman, as I said, I don't ask questions. So basically, whatever question I have, someone else asks, and I take advantage of that, and I just try to get something off it. And what he said too, like, she stays after classes, which I haven't seen many teachers do. Even if you like ask them, like, can you please stay after class, they won't do that because they're off. Why should they stay? She stayed every single day till 2 p.m. and I'm like, why are you such a nice person? But she would come around, she'd like fix your mistakes, even if she was like, don't do that, then she'd still, that was horrible, I'm sorry. But like she would help you like every single day, and I took like, it was really good for me. And the MRC room, the Math Resource Center, that helped too, because I would look at other people's works and I would get something out of it and just complete and just turn it in. So it helped. You should like take advantage of the time you have with your teachers. Ask them literally everything you have to ask and just be done.
That was not a stupid answer at all. That was wonderful. Thank you.
Worse than theirs.
No, it wasn't. Thank you.
We're all in it together, don't worry.
For me, like tools, like learning some of the basic computer languages is sometimes very good, can help you to save the time. And also like strategies, for me, like I like to preview like some of the chapters before I take the classes, because you'll not feel like very uncomfortable and something will be familiar with, or you can try to memorize some formula first if you don't understand it. And also like, for me, like physics, if you can try to prove every equations listed on the textbook, it will help you more understand like the concept.
Are there any resources at CSM that helped you to succeed?
Office hours? I mean, the middle college community, which isn't necessarily readily available, I don't think for any of you guys, was really helpful for me. We had kids taking all level math courses, so I was really able to come back to my much smaller CSM family and ask them questions, and the teachers there are great. They allow you to take time out of your advisory class and go and study with people in the hall and do those sorts of things. But at CSM that's available to all of you guys, I would say office hours, Math Resource Center, and your peers, of course.
And also, just kind of a note, what I heard out of that is a community that's a smaller community within CSM, and there are many of those. That's, middle college is one of them, but hopefully some other of you will have other experiences that we might hear too.
And even if you're not in middle college or whatever, just finding a group of people, or even one other person in the class you're in. So if you miss a day, you can text them and ask them, hey, what I miss, or you can study with them after class. Super helpful. Another resource that CSM has that I think is super helpful is the SI leaders. Barbod is back there, and he's been an SI leader in class of mine, very helpful. He's also helping us here at the Math Jam. SI leaders are basically student leaders that will hold sessions for your class outside of class. So that's just another resource you can use. And I haven't mentioned this yet, but I was actually asked by Professor Walker when I was in trigonometry, which I got an A in, to teach intermediate algebra for a new-ish embedded tutor program that I cannot highlight highly enough. Putting tutors in the classroom for everything from intermediate algebra to calculus is just, I've seen the effects that it has on students, and I urge anyone here who can make the decision to keep it going, to keep it going. I know most of you are probably of the same mindset already, but that has just been huge for both me and other students I know.
I'd agree with whatever this like SI leaders are definitely they're ready to stay after class for an hour, and even in the class they help you out if you are like stuck, because the professor, it's like class of 35-40 students, the professor can't be everywhere, the SI tutors can, so they actually help us out. So that is one. And the learning center, I think they also have math tutors. I think it's called the learning center, I'm not sure. The one, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, that is one other great resource. Like you have tutors for like math, English, statistics. You name the subject and you already have tutors for those. And office hours, definitely. Like I've kept Professor Funman for going for so long. I mean, at least every day I used to spend like I think 2 or 3 hours at an average at her office. So that's one great resource.
I think I've already said all the resources, but I forgot two. Khan Academy, it helps a lot. Like, I don't know, it just helps a lot. Even they have like those little, like if you've done Khan Academy now, they give you like at the end of the thing like little articles to read. And I usually take my notes on that after the lecture to make sense of the little small words. Can't talk. Another one is the people, like if you've talked to me, you heard me speak, I speak a lot, I talk a lot. So I obviously will talk to my peers. And I've made a few friends. I made like these little kids who are like younger than me, and they're really good at it. So I like, okay, I'm gonna be friends with these kids. And they help. They like just talk to themselves. They like figure the problems by themselves. And me being me, I don't ask them questions. So I just hear them and I'm just like, oh, okay, got you. And I try doing the problems by myself. I think that's the only thing I do other than Professor Feynman and PFR students.
For me, like other than like office hours and MRC or the center, there are like professors in like physics, biology, and chemistry. They will hold like they're like office hours, but they will just stay in ISC, and for like less students to ask the questions. But I think a lot of people they don't know, like they are just sitting there. That's something else.
What was your final grade in the class?
So, as I said in the beginning, I took 3 classes. I somehow managed to pull out a C- in Math 130, Analytic Trigonometry. I don't know how I did it. No, I do know how I did it. I went to office hours day in, day out, and I asked questions, and I engaged, and I paid attention, and I applied myself. And Miss Butterworth basically made it impossible for me to not pass. She basically she helped me to a point where it was impossible for me to not pass. There you go. Taking my knowledge going into the math classes afterwards, I was able to go in with the proper mindset, with the proper tools, and I was able to get A's in both pre-calculus and business calculus.
So I got B in geometry, an A in intermediate algebra, an A in trigonometry, a B in pre-calculus, and then I got a 77 on the final in calculus, and I only got a C, but that was mainly due to me not understanding that the workload was going to double at about that point. So if anyone's going from pre-calculus to calculus, just be ready for that, you know. So yeah, those were my final grades.
Yeah, just took one course, so I ended up with an A- in calculus, like Math 251.
But I took geometry and I was borderline B, but then my final exam came out and it was better than all my other test scores. Like they were better, but I still ended up with the 77.
For me, A in all the math and physics.
So,
All right.
You mean just
Thank you guys all for sharing that. Thank you. So do you feel you could have affected the final outcome of the courses that you were in by altering anything during the semester?
mindset is huge. I mean, I wouldn't have changed the pre-calculus and applied calculus classes. I had a great time in both of my classes. Second semester, senior year, my last year here, I had a applied calculus with Ms. Butterworth. And I think we had maybe 6 kids in our class. And
Yeah,
it was,
yeah.
it was, you know, it was my second little community. It was great. I had phone numbers of everybody in the class. We were, you know, we all helped each other out before tests. It was really great. I definitely, if I could say something to myself for applied calculus, for analytic trigonometry, it would be to pay attention and to be respectful.
Understand, as Shelby and other guy pointed out rightfully, that mindset is very important. That you have to have that, you know, mindset that I have to work hard. If I don't work hard, I'm not gonna pass. I think that is a good mindset to have, because I had that mindset the entire time. So yeah, I think that's all.
I realize I'm exactly opposite of what they said again, so I think I'm the odd one here, being the only one who's like about everything. I felt like I should have asked questions. I should have honestly just like let my pride go in the trash can and just ask people questions about how to do it. Like literally understand anything out of the whole course. But the whole course was pretty good. Like I gained some friends. I gained some jokes from my professor, and it was fun. Like she like literally does not stop with her words. She's like, stop talking, I can't think, and that's my favorite quote of like from her. But I think the one rule I told myself before coming to the course was don't procrastinate. Like don't do it. Like if you miss one thing and say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, you will not do it tomorrow. What? Just do it now. Just spend the time. Just lose that one night, and you can sleep off later. I think that's the only thing. So, yeah.
Also, like persistence is very important. Like originally, I want to drop Professor Feynman's discrete mathematics because originally, like my friend registered the class with me, and he just didn't show up because he dropped the class before the class started. And also, I didn't perform not really well in the first and second quizzes. So, but I think I should still go on, just more practice to improve my.
I want to jump off of that briefly. I found one of my closest friends now that I'm going to college with in my analytic trigonometry class. And we took pre-calculus together the next semester. And over the summer, he ended up taking calculus and getting ahead. So at first I was a little discouraged. I didn't really want to do applied calculus because he was going to go into Calc 2, I think is what it is. I'm not sure what he ended up taking. But, you know, it all worked out. You know, it's helpful to have somebody to go in with, but ultimately it's about breaking out of your comfort zone and pushing yourself.
So just to follow up on that, because I know your story, can you compare your experience with that friend group in your trig class?
Boy.
Compared to after you broke out of that, and then what you experienced in your other 2 classes?
We were in a very large classroom, probably twice the size of this one, but it didn't have the risers. And I gravitated towards the kids who were sitting in the back. The ones that didn't try were looking at, I don't know, on their computers. For the entire class, not paying attention, not doing assignments. And one day I had just had enough. I think he said something that didn't sit well with me, and I got up and I walked away. And I went and I sat next to my closest friend, Joshi. At the time, I didn't know him. All I knew was that he was in middle college and he was in my trig class. After that, it was just uphill from there. Started asking questions, started paying attention, and it was fun. It was weird. Like I thought I was having fun before, just goofing off, not doing anything, but it wasn't. And when I started, you know, apply myself, and I started to get it, when you get something in math, it's the best. You're like, oh my god, I did it. But you know, it completely, who you surround yourself with directly impacts your success, and that's not only in math classes, but that's also in life.
I just want to add something really
Yes, please. I was going to ask if anybody else would like to share some anecdotes or
Well, I don't have anecdotes. Just one little thing that, like, a tip if you're taking calculus, especially during the summer semester. So all these, all these formulas and all the important stuff, like you cannot take the derivative of a constant and all this important, like professors usually tell you all this stuff. It's best if you write it down and just look at it once before the exam, because I made so many silly mistakes, like I took the derivative of a constant like a couple of times, and you cannot do that. So like it's like I knew it at the back of my head, but it's just that during the exam it didn't click to me. So there might be instances where like you know it, but during the exam it just flies off your head. So I think it's really good if you write down all the basic rules and look at it once before the exam. I think that's going to be helpful.
Anyone else would like to share anything? Anything at all?
I'd just like to summarize everything that all of us just said, just briefly. Professors here are awesome. They have office hours that are longer than the classes you'll take with them. Use that resource if you can. If you can't use that resource, go to the math lab. There are always student tutors there. My coworker and student tutor, John, has helped me so much through calculus and everything. Don't worry about what level you're at, because I started with geometry, and that's only held in summers here, and that was before intermediate algebra, and now I'm going into calculus 2. So don't let your mindset tell you, I'm not going to be able to do this, because I'm proof that someone who is not like genetically strong in math can do the math given the resources here. SI leaders are helpful also. They are students who host sessions outside of class for the work you do in class. Especially go to those if it's right before a test. Have the right mindset about the class. Like I said before, if you think you're going to succeed, you will. If you think you're going to fail, you will. What else, guys? Is there anything else I forgot to mention?
I don't think so.
Who you surround yourself with was definitely a good thing to say also, because if you surround yourself with other people who are studying, then you're going to be studying along with them and you're going to learn more.
She's telling me to say ask questions.
Oh yeah, ask questions.
Ask a question.
Definitely ask questions if you don't understand something. That's one great thing CSM has an opportunity to do, because the class sizes are small enough that you can actually ask a question before you forget it. And the professor, at least in my experience with every professor I've had, will answer that question.
It's probably something I haven't said, or probably some has, but I'm just gonna say it again. Okay, I know it's summer and people are gonna take it in summer. I know you wanna have fun, like you don't wanna do this, like why are you doing this in the first place? But it's only for a short time. It's gonna go away as fast. Like you won't even think it's 2 months. So like actually like work hard for it. And I thought it was gonna be like 2 weeks or something. It was 2 months. It flew away before I even knew it was final exam. So just take your time, like keep your mindset open and like study hard, and it'll be good. So like if you think you're gonna pass, you're gonna pass. If you don't, like me, you're not gonna pass.
You passed though.
Pass.
You passed.
I passed.
Well, you said you did. You
I
said.
did. I said I passed.
Yeah.
I told my dad I did not pass, so I'm not getting a new phone, but whatever. I broke my last one hanging out with the wrong people, so don't do it.
Oh, hang out with the right people too, right?
They
All
broke
right.
my
Been in
phone.
math class.
Okay, anything else that you guys want to add?
Don't take 27 courses like him. Ridiculous. Take one like me.
All right, I really, really appreciate all that you guys have done here today and letting everybody know.
We're
Questions,
open to
yeah.
questions for everybody
So
else.
thank you, and then, yeah, let's open it up. Thank you, Luca. Anybody have any questions that you'd like to ask?
If we answered everything, woo-hoo.
No?
Looks like we did our job.
All right, thank you very, very much.